Dale McDowell finished second for the second straight year at the World 100, this time behind Ricky Thornton Jr., and he explained exactly what happened in those closing laps that prevented him from being able to not only reel in Ricky Thornton Jr., but get around him. Wrote this up over at stockcarreport.com. You can find the link in the description below. McDowell originally started the race in 19th after taking a provisional and fell back to 25th just 14 laps into the race. However, he began working his way through the field over a green flag run and was up to 17th with 63 laps to go when a caution came out for debris. On the next restart, he was able to make up a number of positions due to a number of drivers such as Brandon Overton and Tim McCready who were ahead of him heading to the hot pit to make adjustments. Nevertheless, he had found his way up to 12th with 61 laps to go when the caution came out again. On the ensuing restart, he lost 2 positions and fell back to 14th when the caution came out for Garrett Smith just a couple laps later with 59 laps to go. When the race got back to green, McDowell began marching through the field again. He broke into the top 10 with 53 laps to go. He made it into the top 5, running around the bottom of the track with 34 laps to go. With 15 laps to go, he had got around Ryan Gustin and moved into third. As he was closing in on Jonathan Davenport to take the second position, Tim McCready suffered a mechanical failure and drew a caution with 13 laps to go. Let's kind of take a look here because you can see just how close McDowell had gotten to Davenport. He was literally reeling him in. You can see here, this is Davenport right here, kind of running through the top of 3 and 4, and McDowell's down here. You can hardly see him with people there watching or taking pictures, etc. But here we'll play it, and you can kind of see him coming off the corner here before the caution comes out.
He may have an issue in the 9 car, but Dale McDowell.
So you can see there, he was only a couple of car lengths behind Jonathan Davenport for that second place position. And I think Ricky Thornton Jr. was only a couple of car lengths ahead of Davenport there. So he had definitely reeled them in, and it was going to be, I think, a whale of a finish if they had stayed green. But unfortunately, caution came out there for Tim McCready, and they re-racked the field. On the restart, McDowell stuck to the bottom and was able to work around Jonathan Davenport to get into second with 11 laps to go. The entire race took a huge twist when a caution came out for Chris Madden, and Davenport, who dominated much of the beginning of the race, went to the hot pit for a flat right rear tire. Ricky Thornton Jr. also showed his racing IQ when he decided to take the bottom line on the restart in an attempt to deny McDowell his preferred line that allowed him to cut his way through the field. I mean, he was running that bottom line throughout the entire race when we actually started to get to see the camera on him when he really kind of started working up in through that top 10 there. And he was just running that line, and no one else was running it, and no one really had an answer for him until he got to Ricky Thornton Jr. But it wasn't taking that low line on the restart. It was actually going into 3 and 4 because McDowell was actually able to pull beside Thornton through turn 1 on the restart. But Ricky got a good run and cleared him heading into 3. Not only did Thornton clear him, but he dove to the bottom through 3 and 4 and took away McDowell's line. That saw McDowell fall back into the clutches of Nick Hoffman, who briefly took second with 10 to go. However, McDowell was able to eventually get back around him with 5 to go, but by the time he cleared Hoffman, Thornton had extended his lead to 1.6 seconds. The gap was too much to make up, and Thornton went on to win not only his first World 100, but his first crown jewel at Eldora, and did so in impressive fashion. Here we can take a look at this final restart here. Ricky Thornton Jr. obviously on the bottom. Dale McDowell kind of already creeping down to the bottom in the middle there. Nick Hoffman up above him right here. You can take a look at this.
Apex at 3 and 4. Thornton fires down the main straightaway, 11 to go.
Boy, I'm incredibly surprised Dale McDowell didn't rip the top. No, I'm not. McDowell down to the bottom, going for the lead. Turbo, throw the slider in there. Side by side momentarily down the back straightaway. Thornton knows where Dale McDowell's going.
He's got to stick it on the bottom, doesn't he?
Here comes
He's got to
Hoffman.
stick it.
Here comes Hoffman.
So right there, I think, was the move that won the race there for Ricky Thornton Jr. Instead of kind of maybe running that higher line, maybe running even through the middle, he ran right down on that bottom where McDowell was running. And you can see, I think he clearly kind of threw some dirty air back on McDowell. I think it kind of really messed up his car, allowed Nick Hoffman to get up there. And I actually think it hurt Ricky a little bit because I don't think he got the run that he would have liked to up the top, but it was able to put McDowell back there into Hoffman's clutches. Hoffman looked like he might have been able to come and get Ricky if he was going to be able to get around McDowell, but Ricky kind of switched up his lane again and kind of pulled away and got to that 1.6 second gap. I thought that was an absolutely brilliant move that Ricky Thornton did, and I didn't really think he was getting a lot of credit for that, because I thought that was just an absolutely fantastic move, and I really think that was the move that allowed him to win the race. We did get some comments from McDowell after the race on his explanation on what happened. Obviously, the commentators were kind of putting the blame on the cautions there, and I definitely think that is a valid narrative, but I also think that Ricky might have also done what he did right there and kind of gone to the bottom to try to take away that line. And McDowell even recognized this, because when Flow Racing's Mike Norris posited that he didn't need the caution, McDowell said this: "I don't think so. I mean, we don't know. Just on depth perception, I was catching them, and I don't know if I could have got to them, but I definitely had some momentum going. It was kind of like the tire sealed up a little bit, and I couldn't get back off on those restarts. I don't know. I needed to carry momentum. We were lacking just a little bit of compliance, and the race car was a little rigid." Shane said when we lost fuel load, it got a little more rigid. Obviously, I definitely think he was catching them, but catching and getting around them are two different things. And obviously, Ricky Thornton Jr. is really, really good when he gets out in front and knows how to to take the air off guys. And he's also not afraid to maybe use the door a little bit, as we saw last weekend with the Luke Soil Lay Battle Dirt Series when he got into Jonathan Davenport. But anyways, McDowell went on and said, "So I'm dejected a little bit. I'm bridesmaid, but you can't be dejected with this crowd and the best racers in the world here. So I'm proud to be part of it. And 2 firsts and a second over the weekend. I want to get one before I quit. Hopefully we'll be back next year." And it looks like we'll be back next year. So hopefully we can take another shot at it. He reiterated those comments when he was asked by Flow Racing's Michael Rigsby if there were too many cautions at the end, and was asked to elaborate on what happened. And McDowell said this: "I think so. I was gaining on them. When you get there, you don't know what it will do with air, but I was kind of running a different line." So there you go. He said he wouldn't know what would happen if it got to the air. It definitely looked like to me that when Ricky went to the bottom of 3 and 4 there on that restart, he definitely took the air off of McDowell a little bit, and that put him into the clutches of Nick Hoffman. My wager is that Ricky Thornton probably would have done something the same if McDowell had gone to him. And we really hadn't seen anyone really do that, right? No one was really running that McDowell line. He was able to work around everyone. I forget who it was. There was someone earlier on in the race, took him maybe 1 or 2 laps to get around. I think it was a lap car that was running a little bit lower on the track, but even then he was able to get around him because he was just running so much lower. But we did see Ricky kind of really running that low line through 3 and 4, and I think it definitely kind of took the air off of Dale there and put him back into the clutches of Nick. I really think that was the winning move right there. But anyways, McDowell went on and said, "So I thought maybe the cautions would help me, but it didn't. I couldn't get refired. It was like the tires glazed up a little bit or something, and I couldn't get going. It took me a little bit to get going. When I rolled under Ricky, I just couldn't pull off the corner like I needed to, or I would have had to wash out in him, when I did it, and that's just not how we raced each other. So I kind of pinched it off and tried to pull off the bottom, and it wouldn't. So I did everything that I could do behind the wheel, and Shane will take notes." So obviously he did have that chance there through 1 and 2, got beside Ricky, but obviously wasn't able to close off the pass there, finish off the pass, and Ricky was able to clear him down the backstretch, and then again took his line away in 3 and 4. McDowell went on and said this: "Man, these things are so tedious here. You make just little bitty changes, and it changes a lot." So he worked his tail off all weekend, obviously referring to Shane, and said, "So I'm proud to be here. You get a little, like I'm bridesmaid, but you can't complain because we don't race a full schedule. And to race with these guys, man, there's just the top racers in the country are here. And so what we do, and to be up here, I'm pleased for myself, and the guys do a good job. The crew guys do a good job." I mean, it was just another brilliant performance by Dale McDowell at Eldora, but unfortunately coming up a spot short. Ricky Thornton Jr. putting on an even better performance, working his way around Jonathan Davenport. I think he actually fell back to 5th, and then he kind of saved his stuff through the middle portion of the race, and then got a caution and decided to attack, and was able to get around Nick Hoffman and Chris Madden there, and then eventually got around Jonathan Davenport, and really never looked back, and was only really challenged there at the very end on that restart by McDowell on the bottom, and he was able to counter it. But that is what Dale McDowell had to say there. Fantastic World 100 delivered again throughout all 3 nights. Just absolutely great racing on the preliminary nights on Thursday and Friday. The heat races were really, really good as well. Obviously, I think McDowell even talked about it. He kind of was victim to the invert, as well as the fact that he was in the heat that he was in. I forget which heat he was in, but he talked about how heats 3 and 4 obviously is when the track kind of changes, and so it kind of maybe becomes a little bit of a one groove track there. And I think it definitely went to the top in the heat that he was in. So that was why he was forced to take that provisional and wasn't able to get maybe a better starting position and be able to have a little bit more time there to strike, instead of having to work his way back from 25th. But a fantastic race, definitely delivered. Maybe definitely top 5 race. I think it was just really, really good stuff. And can't wait for it to come back again next year. But we won't really have to wait too long to get back to Eldora. Obviously, we've got the Dirt Track World Championships coming up with the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series as well here in the next month or so. So we will be getting our Eldora fix here sooner rather than later. But let me know what you guys make of what Dale McDowell had to say here and kind of how his race ended. Let me know in the comments below.